Hi, the meeting has started. We can't hear on the, it's muted for the county. Thank you.
We'll have allegiance just like. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. We have the full board today. Let's have two alternates. Any amendments to the agenda? Not. Have approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
They should make a motion to accept the minutes. That's very weird. I'll second.
Then moved to skip.
I had a question.
We're not going to withdraw, we'll answer your question.
I just wonder. What's we had 8 long zones. Use everything.
You want to explain what a closeout is? That's when they deem the permit closed.
Oh,
Closeout?
oh, okay. Oh, I know.
Okay, it's a good day when you learn something.
Third question.
I agree.
Okay. Then moved and seconded, this being approved. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Full business. We've had our master plan workshop. The POC decision on the Desmond.
Oh, wait a minute, are we not, we're not approving the master plan this time? We're doing it next time?
No, it's gonna be later.
Oh. Well, then we need an amendment to the agenda.
Well, let's just do it now.
Well, no, we don't need to hold everybody up. I agree with doing it later. It just needs to be added on here.
Right.
So you want to put that before planning and zoning compliance?
Right.
I move that we add after B on new business to approve the updated master plan.
Second.
Any objections? Okay. So done.
Yeah.
You'll see decision on Desmond area for short term rental.
It was third unanimously.
Okay. New business. Of a hearing for a special event permit for July 31st to August 2nd. For tract of land on County Road at 12511 County Road 328. Or the applicant's present. Yeah.
And I be able to go to the Zoom. I just have to come over here, I'm hard of hearing, I can't hear what you're saying.
Oh, okay,
Talk into the microphone, Keith.
right,
You want him to come up?
yeah, I need the applicants to come up, make their statement, you see.
They're doing the special event.
There's another, the applicants is on Zoom or online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hello, Your Honor, and commissioners, as well as the staff, the community members, and neighboring residents.
Okay, now the statement. I'll go ahead and well, I'm not familiar with this, what is the statement?
It's gonna be her statement of why she's doing the event. So Mariah, go ahead and give your statement.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to turn off my camera for bandwidth, but I'm also going to present the presentation as well so you can see.
We don't have any way to see your presentation, so you're just gonna have to give a statement.
Oh, okay, no worries at all. Well, I'll first introduce myself. My name is Mariah Edgar. I'm here as the organizer for this gathering on the 31st through the 2nd of August. I'll be walking through a special event permit application presentation. Obviously, you aren't able to see it.
Yes.
Okay,
But
hold on, Mariah. Mariah, hold on.
Of course.
We can't understand the words you say. Little slowly. That, you hear you. The word, are you, maybe, and slow your speech now.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
slower.
Hey, just talk slower because people are spread out through the courtroom, so they have to be able to hear you.
No worries at all. I can definitely do that. So I will be working through our application presentation. Obviously, you aren't able to see it, but I did submit the primary attachment with the event permit application to the county. So you're welcome to follow along there. I'll start by giving a clear overview of the gathering itself, and then I'll walk through how it's being managed. From there, I'll cover how we're meeting all county requirements, including safety, sanitation, and environmental protections. I also want to proactively address that there are a couple typical areas of concerns like sound, fire, safety, and overall impact. So I do want to proactively address those and make sure that you have a full picture of how this is structured and controlled. First, this is a small private ticketed wellness gathering with about 140 participants. The focus is on wellness programming such as yoga, educational workshops, sound healing, and arts. Everything takes place entirely on private property with no use of public lands, roads, or infrastructure. The surrounding parcels are all owned by Agape Valley Campground, so there's no directly adjacent neighbor's property immediately bordering the gathering area. There will also be no alcohol sold on site or promoted on site. This is a wellness gathering. This gathering runs from the afternoon of Friday.
Mariah, what?
Did you say that there'll be no alcohol?
Correct. No
Okay.
alcohol
It's
sold
hard to understand
or
you.
promoted.
Right, if you're on a small speaker, giant room, just step back.
No worries. I'll come closer to my computer. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So let's see. The gathering runs from the afternoon of Friday the 31st through the afternoon of Sunday, August 2nd. Setup will begin 2 days prior and clean up immediately after. Participants will depart on the afternoon of August 2nd, and then the full site cleanup will be completed by the 3rd. Participants will stay on site in designated camping areas that are already established by Agape Valley Campground, which minimizes the traffic movement throughout the weekend. All activities contained within clearly defined areas on the property, and we also have maintained a clear emergency access route. I also want to note that the property owners have also provided a written approval for us to host the event on the property again. That approval, along with a certificate of liability insurance, was included with our application. The property owners aren't affiliated with the gathering operations, but they are supportive of the gathering taking place on their land again as it's successful. It was low impact last year and all attendees were respectful. As far as the attendance, access, and traffic, there will be one entry point with the required check-ins. There won't be any public access or walk-ins. All parking and camping will be designated and contained within the campground itself. So all vehicles will remain on the private property for the duration of the event. This means there won't be any impact to surrounding roads or adjacent land. We won't require any road closures. There won't be any disruption to public traffic flow, but we will be highly encouraging carpooling to reduce the overall vehicle volume, as well as exploring shared transportation options. We found a bus that has 48 passengers seating, so we will encourage that as well to minimize traffic, as well as the roads. Once on site, the vehicles, like I said, will remain on site and designated on the internal roads only. We do have a dust mitigation plan in place using on-site watering methods to minimize dust impact. As far as sound management and quiet hours, this is something that we take very seriously. Amplified sound will take place during the day and early evening hours, concluded at a reasonable time. After that, amplified sound transitions into a silent disco format, so only using headphones. So there'll be no overnight amplified sound. Throughout the event, we'll be actively monitoring sound levels using a decibel reader, conducting a routine perimeter check, making sure that we do stay within the county limits. Safety and medical and security, we will have 2 to 4 trained EMTs on site at all times, along with multiple clearly marked first aid stations and a medical station at the campground office. All of our staff, which actually precedes the attendees, is trained in emergency response protocols. We have already notified all emergency services as well as including fire, medical, and the sheriffs. We will continue to provide updated communication reminders to those departments as we get closer to the event, just to ensure full awareness and coordination. Again, one of the important aspects of this event is we have a higher staff to attendee ratio, which makes the environment a very easy environment to manage. The maintained controlled entry, the participant accountability, and the clear internal communication systems that we have will be quickly responded to and effectively. In addition, the natural tree coverage throughout the campground provides the shade for the attendees, and the potable water that's across the site, that will be for the attendees as well. There's an existing well system on the site, and those are distributed all throughout the land.
You said the potable water is just from the on-site well, is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct. And there's spigots throughout the land, all over the land.
Well,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. As far as fire prevention and alcohol, like I said, this is a wellness event, so we will not have alcohol. We won't be selling it, promoting it, any of that. We will fully comply with the fire restrictions. I know right now there's a fire ban. We do take that very seriously, especially given the conditions in this region this year with it being so dry. All staff and attendees are required to strictly follow the active fire ban rules, including the no open fires, only approved cooking methods as far as camping grills will be allowed, and then no open flames will be permitted during the fire ban. If fires are allowed during the county regulations, we will be limited to the one single designated fire pit with the fire watch present at all times. In addition, we do have up to 8 fire extinguishers placed strategically through the site, as well as water resources through the spigots and just sitting and waiting. There will be no fireworks or any pyrotechnics at any point of this event. That's strictly prohibited. And then all vendors will obviously be required to fully comply with the fire department regulations for cooking and equipment use. Again, I just want to be clear that this is a wellness event. There will be no alcohol served, sold, or promoted at this event. This is intentionally structured to be a wellness-focused community, non-party environment. As far as the sanitation, waste, and sustainability. Oh, go ahead.
you mentioned smoking, but then you didn't say what you were doing about it.
Smoking, I don't,
Okay, so smoking is not allowed.
smoking is not allowed, no. That is also a rule with the Agape Valley Campground.
That include marijuana?
Yeah. Well, it's,
So that is like stage 2 requirement, no marijuana and no.
let's stick to the applicant statement first and. As far as.
Awesome, thank you. And we do welcome all concerns. We definitely want to address those and make sure that we're following all county and neighbors' requirements. We want this to be a safe and low risk event for you guys. As far as the safety, sanitation, and waste, sanitation is fully established for the size of this event. We'll have porta potties as well as the 3 permanent restrooms that are in the bathhouse with sinks and showers. There's an additional restroom in the cabin, and then, like I said, the 3 portable toilets that we'll have with hand washing stations. Those will be maintained by the event by Oak Disposal. So we will be using local vendors as well. There'll be at least 9 trash cans placed throughout the site to remain cleanliness and accessibility, as well as 2 dumpsters. Those will be collected throughout the event, as well as serviced by Oak Disposal. With that foundation in place, we also have a really strong environmental structure built into the event itself, excuse me. We have a dedicated award-winning sustainability director overseeing all environmental practices, and we operate under a strict leave no trace principle. All attendees and staff are expected to follow a pack-in, pack-out approach with a strong emphasis on minimizing environmental impact and respecting the land throughout the event. A designated waste sorting team will manage the trash and recyclings on site with clearly marked stations throughout the property. The waste will be collected regularly, and again, the full site cleanup will be completed immediately after the event concludes. In addition, the layout has been intentionally designed to protect the land. We do have designated walking paths that Agape Valley already has. We will have solar lighting for safe movement at night, and then restricting all vehicles to move only at the end of the event. Overall, like I said, our goal is simple. We just want to leave the property in equal or better condition that we found it. The water access, like I said, we do have, or Agape Valley does have the on-site well that provides the potable water. The access points are distributed all over the land. This supports, obviously, the attendees' needs, but also dust control and, of course, the extra layer of fire prevention. Cleanup immediately after the event. We'll conduct the full site-wide cleanup, consolidate all of the waste, and then have it removed. All temporary structures will be taken down, and a final walkthrough will be completed to ensure the land is returned to its original condition. Community impact. This is a small, respectful gathering with minimal impact on the surrounding area. We are aware and mindful of surrounding landowners, and we have intentionally designed this gathering to minimize noise, traffic, and environmental impact. There'll be no use of public resources and no disruption to the daily life of the community. Attendees may support local businesses, obviously, before and after the event, but overall, this is designed to be very contained and low impact. Let me pull up the presentation with the numbers. And again, these are just estimated numbers expected on attendance and typical attendee spending patterns. But our goal is to encourage visitors to support the local businesses. So fuel and transportation up to $3,000, local retail and groceries up to $3,000, food and vendor purchases up to $7,000, and then hospitality and services up to $5,000. I do know that we have the Stellar Inn here as well. They're going to be one of our lodging partners. And I know they could use some more business as well. So we definitely want to support local businesses. And then again, why this event is low impact. I just want to briefly summarize the key points. It's a small capped attendance, private and controlled environment, no alcohol. Again, it's a wellness focused gathering. Silent evenings, so the headphone-based audio evenings, active sound monitoring with the decibel readers, county limits. We do have the strong medical and safety fire planning, the dedicated sustainability and cleanup team, and then structured operations and leadership. I also want to share that we did host this last year with approval of the county. At our previous event, we received super strong feedback from the participants, particularly around the organization, management, and overall positive impact of the experience. From an operational standpoint, there were no medical incidents requiring escalation, no fire issues, and no damage to land. All participants respected property boundaries and there were no off-road driving. We did have 2 instances where the sheriff was contacted by the same person regarding amplified sound during the daytime hours. When they arrived, the sheriffs did measure the sound levels and confirmed we were well below the county decibels and fully compliant. We do appreciate the interaction. We did appreciate the interaction because it reinforced the effectiveness of our sound monitoring and on-site management approach. Out of respect for the surrounding area neighbors, we will be proactively reducing the amplified sound further and then having the silent disco evenings, even though we were already within the compliance. Our team fully understands that hosting an event in a community comes with responsibility, and our goal is to be a thoughtful partner with the county, local residents, and surrounding businesses. Again, thank you so much for your time and consideration. This event is mainly organized by me, but I do have a team of about 43 that are super locked in and have lots of experience with defined roles and responsibilities. We are committed to compliance, safety, and obviously responsible land stewardship throughout every stage of planning and execution. And we remain open with county officials and neighbors with county officials and neighbors as needed. We have put a lot of care and energy into making sure this event is safe, compliant, and respectful to both the land and the surrounding community. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Right, I'll just take an opportunity to say from the landowner's perspective, we get a lot of inquiries about people that would like to host various events on the property. And we deny the vast majority of them, mostly because we live there part-time, we live there about 50% of the year. And just as much as the county is looking over our shoulder, we're looking over Mariah's shoulder. And so when it comes to enforcement of things like somebody brought up marijuana or smoking, it's what people do with what people do with their own time and energy is their business. But if it has to do with a fire risk, then I don't get involved. So the things that we pay the most attention to are the environment. Obviously, we don't want a bunch of our factories destroyed. We don't want a bunch of trees up through the forest. And last year, they did a wonderful job of sending. There were inevitable pieces of trash that were on the ground, and when we brought those to their attention, they were always immediately addressed. And so then afterwards, they took a couple of days and they went through with a small army of people and picked up trash that was there prior to them even being there. So like little pieces of plastic, little doodads that had flown into our property from another property. They scoured the land and picked up everything. They were very good partners. And so for that reason, we've invited them to come back, and it'd be a great fit for what they've applied for. So, and
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, were there any write-in letters?
No.
None? Okay. Comment from the public. And if we need comment, if you could, you can go back to there. Come up, state your name, your address.
My name is Dave Stallions, I live on County Road 321. I live across from the old crop ranch there. And my big concern on this part of deal is the noise traffic that's going through there. You know, I'm totally good at it. Last year, when they were having their doings there. The noise level was so loud that I could sit in my house, I'm 400 to 500 yards away from the place. I could sit in my house with the door closed and hear the music trumping on my walls here through there. And I went over across the road and I went up to where they take tickets or whatever they're doing there. And asked them to turn the music down. And they sort of like, they told me to get that, you know, beat and stuff. And I tried to contact them through their website on the internet. There was no response to that. And so the music that they were playing did stop at 1:33 that morning. And so I sort of worked for a living. I'm almost 70 years old, so I need my sleep. And being kept up all that hours of the night like that is sort of a thing. With their application, I have a copy of their planning and zoning setting this copy of things that I need concerned with. It says that they're gonna have it's 140 person minimum. And I'm not sure what it was last year, the volume of vehicles that was found there. But I was at a spraying Marksburg in my lower pasture last year, so I was out there probably 6 or 7 hours working out there, and I know there's at least 200 to 300 cars were out there now. And so my opinion of a lot of these permits is the people come by and they tell you what they want to do, what they're supposed to do. And then when it's Saturday and Sunday, nobody's around to watch to see what's going on. You know, they do pretty much for the month, and that's what it seemed to me last year, especially this noise. I'm the fellow that called the deputies out, and 3 deputies come out there for probably 3 hours or so, and they went up and down the road. They shouted, I don't know what the noise level is, the DBA is for the county, you know, for 70 decibels at 300 yards, 90 decibels at 300 yards. But the point on this noise is it doesn't matter if you get down at the roadway, if it's gonna be 90 decibels down there as a limit. I'm still another 200 or 300 yards up from the road, and I can hear this stuff all night long. They have, it says here, a written explanation of the methods to be used to minimize smoke odors and noise. After the county planning and zoning office. And I haven't heard anything on how they're gonna limit the noise coming out of this dealers. So, and as Mr. Shadak is saying, that question about marijuana and all. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that Saturday last year, I brought my tractor with a spray gun. I was going down to my bottom horse pasture. And the gate, the entrance there, and my horse pasture is directly across from the drive bench entrance. And so there were 2 little white cars parked there. I stopped the tractor on the road, got out, went over, wanted to ask them to move their vehicles so I could get in my horse pasture and stuff. And when the car there in the back, when they rolled their window down, a cloud of marijuana smoke came out of the damn thing. And, so the concerns of people smoking marijuana in there should be some kind of regulation of it, does bar on them, if they let a drunk go down the road. And he runs somebody over, you know, they hold the tavern owner responsible for that kind of stuff. And, I don't see any way that these people are policing the use of drugs like that out there. I sure don't want my wife coming up the road, you know, and having one of these idiots that smoke that stuff, you know, 24 hours a day. Be thinking about it, chips and taco or something and run head on or like and you know, there's the other subject, the wear and tear of the county road. If I'm seeing 200 to 300 vehicles in one day, so that would be 4,600 during the week last year. And let's do round this out to 200 vehicles a day for this difference. So we got another 400 vehicles coming down the county road. I don't know, when you get down the east end of 328 area, the road is, yeah, they're always a mess. The county can't seem to keep up with it, and you know, let's put this extra traffic on there and see if they're getting that. This noise problem is really a problem there. Because I don't want to miss the area if we use it for 24 hours a day. Oh, they're during their party dealing, and it says here it's gonna be from yes, I got that mixed up in there. Anyway, it's gonna be from July 31st to August 2nd or something. Does that mean 24 hours a day? They can play this music 24 hours a day? Or does it get to start at 8 o'clock in the morning and shut off at 3 to 4? Because last year, you know, that was having it shut off at 1:33 in the morning. I mean, I don't mind if people who want to have a big time on their place. But when it starts affecting other people, me, other people that live in Cold Spring Valley over there, you know, I'm sure some other people were annoyed with it. And what's our option is you can't follow the law out there and have them do anything because they try to come up with some noise limitation from the county. I still don't know what that is. I asked the deputies, they didn't know what it was either. And the three of us stood up in my driveway, it's 600 yards away from this guns. And you know, I could give you the deputies' names and I'd come in and tell you, it was like they were, you know, playing 200 yards away from us, right up on the hill. And anyway, what would be, you know, comes down to what are my options for road this? I'll get them to have them do anything, why is it like that, and improve that basket. And so now I get to come down here and ask you to put it in our special use permit.
Great. They have anything else?
That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Further comments? Yes.
Tomorrow, man, I have lots of good things coming up for me.
Tell you what, I'll just pull off and get on. When I pass, I'll quit talking.
Name's Dennis Shada. Family's been ranching up here for 121 years. We enclose them on three sides. And we have a piece of ground that encloses into them. That was never taken into consideration, not much. But I probably could fire an arrow from there over to their side. I don't think we should be here today. It was such a mess last year and such a fiasco for the people that were involved. Sound was heard for 10 square miles. I'm not exaggerating. I interviewed the people around. 10 square miles. My windows were vibrating, I didn't sleep for 3 days. It wasn't very training when I came in on Monday morning, was it? No, not at all, I had slept for 3 days. Anyway, due to this, according to the permitting of the county, we're supposed to have a review of any event. This isn't an event venue to begin with, this is an escalation from an RV park. That aside, we should have a review. It was agreed to in the October meeting of 2025 by all 3 county commissioners. This event would be reviewed and all of you were to be at that review. It has never happened. We can't even have a good discussion because we never had this event reviewed. It shouldn't even be on the agenda. You can't do these kind of things. Does it just say, get rid of them, we're gonna do it, and then you don't do it? Because that's what's happening here. That's the beginning of things. It's really, really hard to explain when you don't sleep for several days. Very hard. The music was absolutely vibrating my windows. I didn't even know it was gonna happen. I wasn't notified. I wasn't notified this time. I have land on 3 sides. I have cattle running on 3 sides. It's ranch land. I gotta coexist and learn how to live with an RV park next to me. I had to learn to live with 2 subdivisions next to me and various other neighbors. This isn't really a neighborly thing. I can't draw the line and say, this has got to be canceled right now, because we can't take this kind of an impact. If they want, this is an event. If they wanna have an event, we have 2 venues that I know, we have the Bluff, we have the State Fairgrounds. And this is not a community event, it's a private pay to go. The community can't come drifting in, I'm gonna get kicked out. Am I right? Am I wrong, Steve? Let me know right now, am I right or wrong?
I would love to respond when you're finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have. Okay. I'm just trying to get pretty clear, and I'm going high policy now, so. You need my sleep, I am. 340% rated. Disabled dead. Served as county in many capacities, including sheriff's department, as well as being an emergency manager for 2 years. You need to be correct. The application is even wrong this year as it was last year. You're sending emergency personnel. If somebody ODs at this event, you know where they're gonna go? They're gonna go to County Road 328, 2299. That's what's on the application. Mariah doesn't know where she lives. She's in Aurora. The ambulance is going to show up just below the county dump. Like the deputy showed up last time. That's where they went. And the cluster starts there and it won't end until Sunday night when everybody goes down the road. And County Road 328 is a mess. Even today, they're plowing it and it's still a mess. There's an impact. And fees should be collected on any impact when you try to hold it. And I mean, this is an event, the RV park is one thing, an event center is another. This is a total escalation. And it needs to be started right there in the planning and zoning, and it needs to be rezoned to, or whatever you would call it at this point, I don't know. It has to be elevated to the event, not just an RV park. It hasn't been an RV park for between Steve, myself until now. But I'm not gonna go for 3 more days without sleep. I'll guarantee you that. And I don't think that this county should approve this in any way, shape, or form. Due to the fact that they cannot control the situation. And it was uncontrollable last time, and it's gonna be uncontrollable this time, and the same person, Mariah, put it together And she doesn't know where she's at, because she doesn't even know how to put the correct address on. It's just that simple. There's quite a few other things about the loudness, the responses of the sheriff's office. The sheriff, you know, if your work is legal, marijuana is legal in the state, but it's not legal to smoke outside anything. Marijuana or cigarettes in a state should. We're in a severe drought in this county, a severe drought. And I don't know how many fires you have fought, but I have fought multiple fires that part of my ranch was burned in one of them. It's bad. It's devastating. I don't wanna see a bonfire. I don't wanna see anybody smoke outside. I don't use an acetylene torch. I don't even wanna see grinding outside. Because once one of these wildfires start, you'll see things you never see. You'll see trees explode. You'll see pine trees explode like a bomb here. Going in. We've got fire people here, go in to those fires and try to get the animals out, save them, save people. It's happened before. We don't know how many people were actually there. I don't know if the county actually collected any sales tax on this. I don't even know if the county made any money off of this to begin with. Like I said, we have two venues that can be regulated and put into the venues where they belong. The county's made provisions for that. We don't have any idea how many tickets were sold, we don't have any idea how many people, because we didn't have the review. There was a lot of people that were here, these 10 square miles is a big impact. We don't know what the conditions are going to be at the end of July and the 1st of August. Hopefully, we have rain. If we don't, we're gonna have to have a water truck for dust abatement on the road. You're going to have a lot of dust, and the road is going to be a wreck after, it's gonna be brittle. And any of you that don't believe me are welcome to come by and stay and say hi. I'll have some coffee going for you. So I believe that there's a lack from the sheriff's department in regulation, especially with the potential for the fires. I believe that there was a lack of communications entirely on the last one. I was never notified. How in the heck somebody that surrounds a property on 3 sides, the only open side is the county road, doesn't get notified?
I can address that if you allow me.
Yes.
The event was in the RV park itself. And that is its own parcel. And there's more than 300 feet yards, whatever it is, between that and the other part of their property. Their property surrounds it such that there's no notification for the resolution.
So well, see, I have property that goes in to their property.
You want to show them the map? Do you have the map? Well, I mean, I have it here, but.
Yeah, I got it right here too. We all got cell phones.
Oh, no, I mean the map that shows where the property
I
is.
pull up the guy, house they can,
Do you have the map? Yeah.
you know, a small corner. It goes in
Because
on.
I don't show anything. May I approach him? May I approach him?
Yes. I don't like. You can approach it.
I'm not that scary usually. Oh, well, there you go.
Am I scary?
No, you're not.
Okay, not me to be scary, I'm just following. Yeah, okay, we have a corner that comes in right here, comes in off the county road.
But this is the only property that's.
You're saying 300.
Yeah, that is right there is by 800 feet.
Okay. All right, if that's what.
That's the way.
Now, okay, when the Trout Ranch was approved for their RV park, we had to go here and have it approved. There were things in that I was not in agreement with.
Here, I'm gonna sit down so that you speak up for
We were
everybody.
notified at that point.
So you were,
I was notified at that point what was going on and everything that was done from that point forward.
our ranch was notified because we were the adjacent property owners.
In the nineties, so this was
Because-
probably mapped differently?
Or they
Well, they've
separated
gone
that
ahead and
parcel,
changed the map.
or they separated the RV park into a different parcel.
He did a pin survey. There was no pin survey before. It was just, it was,
I'm
that
sorry.
was, no, that was one of the things that I brought up when the RV park was. I said, you have to have a pin survey. You just can't arbitrarily say it's an RV park. Can't take a crayon and just mark up a piece on a map. And that
Something
could
that
be,
we'll look
that
at
could
as
be
its own
it,
parcel.
the 300 feet. But when you're in ranching country, 300 feet is nothing.
I agree, but
You know, it's nothing. You're impacting, and when you impact a 10 square mile area with music. It's nothing. Now, if they wanna keep their music, everything on those 300 feet, that's fine.
And there is two people with that same address. Bobby has that address and so does, Francis. So that's gonna have to be taken up with the assessor. So he was saying that Mariah put the wrong address. I just got on the public, there's two people with that exact address.
You think that's the right answer?
No, I'm just telling you, if you get onto Q Public, Agape has that 2299. And so does another individual. That's all I'm saying, is that there's two people with that same.
Well, I'm saying, I'm not worried about what they think they live at. I'm only worried about emergency services. And when I call the sheriff's department, when they call the sheriff's department, and when others called, because I was on a list, by the way. So many people that called the sheriff's department, dispatched and put me on hold because they were receiving other calls from other people at the time. Emergency services was going to the dump site. They couldn't find the property. Estate, he knew that. I mean, this isn't just my word. I'm just trying to relate what happened. But before I leave, I want to get back to the fact we never had a review.
Yeah.
And because of that very fact, I couldn't file for an injunction. And ask for a complete stay until we get a declaratory judgment from the courts. And I would go for a district court, because that's the last time I did. I went into district court over the RV park. And I won against the county, and all three commissioners had to go and get educated. I didn't want any money, I just wanted them to know the law, and y'all had to attend classes to figure it out. You just can't arbitrarily do things. I've said enough, probably don't have a lot to do, so.
we hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know,
Thank you.
right here, also speaking.
Hello, Planning Commission. Some of you know me. My name is Sarah Burleson, and I'm the Custer County Public Health Director. I'm also a resident, here at Agave Valley. So I'm here today in a couple capacities with the Commission of our Board of Health Chair. So I have a couple questions, that I'd like some clarification on. Both Agave Valley and whoever Mariah is or works for, both are for profit, correct? Or for-profit businesses?
Yes.
And I didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
Sarah, S-A-R-A, Burleson. And
Well, if you signed in, I'll be,
yes,
What was she live?
County Road 356,
Where?
356. Right off of Elbridge Ranch. Frank's Place, down the road.
Oh, okay.
I was one of those whose windows also shook. So I will vouch for you, and we are very far from the event site. So, which brings me to my next point. I actually just texted Sheriff Richard Smith to ask him about these decibel readings that were mentioned here in the little conversation with Mariah. We don't have one of those machines, so I don't know who and what measured the sound decibels because that's inaccurate. I have the sheriff's text message. So I will vouch from a public health standard as well as a resident, that sound level at that decibel for the continuous played range, and it went very late. 133 was one night. I'm sure it went beyond that a couple other nights too. I have a young child, and I like my sleep as well. As a full-time county worker here in Custer County. So I brought the safety statute. If the commission would like to read, I highlighted the aforementioned parts. Because this is a for-profit, this is not a for non-profit, this does apply because it's a state statute. So, if anybody would like to read that, I will leave it for you. Because I have worked with the sheriff on very specific things. And this is what we refer to because our county does not, but then it falls to the state because it is a matter of public health. As mentioned, up to 10 miles, which I can believe, living through it myself, I can believe that. It is not good for my residents to not be able to sleep. It's not why we are out here living. We are in a residential area. My other question is if, with the fire danger, because we're involved as public health in ESF 8, which is emergency support function. So we help with emergency preparedness. I would very much like to look at that evacuation plan because if there is one way in, one way out, how are we going to evacuate over 140 people, including campers and tents and all of this stuff? Are they briefed, are they educated on this fire evacuation plan prior to the event so that they know? Because a lot of these folks are not from here, as mentioned. So they don't know our routes and our roads. And again, if we're all evacuating as residents on top of that, County Road 328, I don't think has that capacity. And the only other route, depending upon where the fire is coming from, maybe 341, we don't know. But that is a lot to think about, and I have to think about that from a public health perspective as well. To keep everybody safe, those that visit and those that are here. So that is a very large question I would like answered. And then with the business, if they can't leave, how are they supporting our local businesses? That was my other question. I was very confused by that point. If we're gonna keep all the cars there, but yet we're gonna go get groceries. Also in that aspect, food vendors, where are those permits going? So I haven't seen any. And neither has my constituents that actually run food inspections. So again, I would like to keep my people safe. Foodborne outbreaks are not fun. I have lived through one, it's not a good time. So I just, again, in the aspect of public safety, I would like to know the answer to those questions. And finally, I'm glad to hear that EMS is there. As public health, we can provide Narcan for the event for free. So please come see us in our office. We'd like to keep everybody safe in case there are recreational drugs that are taking it. We do have a free program. So that is wonderful. And for the most part, that's just about it. Except I would like to say thank you to our vets. I actually have a neighbor. His name is Mike Robinson. He's a Vietnam vet. He could not be here today. But he is also very upset by the fact that the noise is so outrageous. And there were other neighbors that had also mentioned that their PTSD was triggered because of the noise. Again, I can't have that, and it's not okay. So they've served us in more capacities than I can count, so we need to make sure we're protecting them, including ourselves. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Let me know if you need any further documentation.
Thank you. Other public comment? It was something.
This is Vanessa with the Stellar Inn. I don't know if I have permission to talk now.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was typing in the chat so that I wouldn't forget. I don't know if Mariah will have an opportunity to respond to those, but as a business, and I was just kind of going off of what some of the residents were saying as far as sound, and just listening to Mariah's presentation sounded like that has been addressed. I think last year definitely sounds like it was serving as a learning opportunity for everyone. I think that presentation sounded like it addressed a lot of those concerns. As far as for the local economy, I know that we definitely saw last year, me personally, we had guests that stayed after. I didn't quantify any of that. I can if I need to. When we were over at the farmers market, we definitely saw lots of the event guests walking around in the farmers market and having bags full of items. So as far as local business, I definitely appreciate a wellness event being brought to the area. I can also appreciate not being able to sleep for 3 days and being frustrated about that. We're a lodging business on Main Street, so we have to deal with police sirens, ambulance sirens, just road traffic, church bells at 6 a.m. We're just in a location where it is zoned for business, and we try to help our guests as much as we can. We provide free earplugs to help with any concerns with sound. I think in the presentation, it sounded like there was something to address that with silent discos. What I didn't hear was a start time and an end time, which I think would be helpful to know. One other thing that I haven't heard is, addressing that it's an RV park, not an event center. I was just curious about how many RV spaces are normally there, if there's a occupancy capacity for the 700 acres that Agape Valley owns, and if so, if they fill up their campsite with campers, to me, what's the I want to know what the difference is with having a full campground of campers versus a wellness event. So just a couple of questions I had there. The concerns on smoking of any kind, cigarette, marijuana, crack, whatever. It's not allowed if there's a law when you're off the grounds, and I cannot control my guests 24/7. So if I have visitors, I definitely have encountered within my boundaries, my gates, someone just sitting in the middle of the night from a room and then just lighting up right there. And I can see them. I immediately have to text them, hey, you cannot do that. I am a no smoking property as well. When they walk outside of those gates, I don't know what they're doing. I can't monitor the thousands of guests that I get in the summertime outside of the gates. They're from out of town. This is just a tourism thing, not directly related to the event. So smoking outside of the event, to me, is just something that we all have to deal with. There's nothing that I would be able to do for one of my guests to go park in front of one of those residents' properties. It would definitely be up to them to call the police and handle that how they need to. If they're trespassing, if they're smoking in their parking lot or in their driveway, there's no special event permit or anything like that that's going to stop someone that wants to break the law from doing that. And I think so. The state regulation, is there any way that could be read out loud, the highlighted part? I know typically with certain regulations, it's just the most stringent. So depending on what it was that the public safety director brought up, I just would like to hear what that is and see if maybe that was already addressed. Is that something that could be read out loud, or at least reference the code so that I could look it up?
I'm giving it to Delana now.
Okay, thank you. And then that would be it. I just want to hear that, and then that's all I would have to say so far.
So I guess I'm gonna read the highlighted parts. She has, that 7 p.m. Would you like me to read and stuff? Yeah. Sarah's got this, not saying that, the public health. Sarah's gonna go ahead and summarize it for you, the different highlights she has.
Okay, thank you.
So we're referring to Colorado State Statute CRS Section 25-12-103, maximum permissible noise levels. So the highlighted portions that affect the sound levels. So sound levels of noise radiating from a property line at a distance of 25 feet or more therefrom in excess of the decibel established for the following time periods and time zones shall constitute prima facie evidence that noise is a public nuisance. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in a residential area. Your acceptable noise level is 55 decibels. Now, I would really like to see that report if the sheriffs did use their metaphorical decibel meter, because they don't have one. But I will attest, living through it personally, as far as I live, that it shook my windows. It is common sense that they broke the decibel level. The other problem is it wouldn't have been a problem if they would have stopped the noise, especially with the complaints, because I also called to complain. So this two complainant is also very interesting because we have proven that wrong today with several of us here present. That, you know, things aren't tracking. I don't see where they're coming up with these things and that they're listening to us because they have hired the event coordinator, Mariah, who wasn't able to coordinate the event properly last year. So that does also bring me concern. So back to the noise level. In the hours between 7 a.m. and the next 7 p.m., the noise levels permitted in subsection 1 of this section may be increased to 10 decibels for a period of not to exceed 15 minutes in any 1 hour period. So continuous noise at that decibel is damaging to your health. And if I may, on the second page, four paragraphs down, this article is not applicable to the use by the state, any political subdivision, or any entity not organized for profit. That is why I started with my question to clarify, to make sure I was within legal statute, that they are both for profit. So if you would like, you just Google it. It's real easy. Here's the document.
No, that's good. Thank you. Does that mean that, I mean, if we're following the state regulation, are we going after every construction zone that is putting a roof on every day? Are they having to get certain exemptions?
Different. That's different. So there is a subsection for constructions, particularly in that same regulation. So yes, I work closely with planning and zoning Delana, as well as planning and zoning Chris over in Silver Cliff. And I also work with the sheriff's department. We have responded to two noise complaints in the past year at public health.
So construction is exempt or addressed in that, but music or any other kind of noise. Okay.
Yep, and if it's a nonprofit that is doing a cultural ceremony, that is excused. So it all states it in the state statute.
So between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., those 55 decibels and.
If people can complain, yes.
Okay.
And I don't know how much construction is that, and how to set in.
Sarah,
Correct, yes.
you said residential area. What's the zoning where that, where Agape is?
Residential.
It's its own residential, but there.
Yes.
They have a special use permit and then.
No, I was wondering if it was agricultural
No.
ranching.
Well,
Well, it's agricultural, residential.
Mhm.
Both. Well, and for me, it's on agricultural.
Right, I've been up
And
there
we're
buying
adjacent to
today, and I would be very hard pressed to say it's right, agricultural or residential versus farming or ranching.
I mean, both of them are permitted in that zone.
Yeah, okay, I'm just
Yeah.
suggesting.
Yeah, and how the state statute breaks it down, they don't have an agricultural section, unfortunately, it's just residential and commercial. So being that we are zoned residential, we would fall under that, that's the double.
Right, so you're using that regulation to sort of help the case. Because if you look at the property and compare it to Aurora, for instance, it's not.
And each subsidy has their own sound ordinances, but because we don't, we can default to the state, especially when it affects public health massively.
That's not.
Okay, that, this is something for the planning commission to discuss.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, was long. Yeah, is there any more public comment before we go over that?
I want to add in, I would say, if the event holder agrees to those decibel levels within those time or below within those timeframes, is that something that would be helpful for everyone if we have an agreed upon to meet that state regulation?
That's a planning commission discussion.
Great, yeah, thank you guys for all your comments, appreciate it. So we did pull the second ordinance, and to be clear, there is no ordinance in Custer County, so there is no, so we follow the rule because there's no. But second, because we wanted to be good neighbors, you can get a free decibel reader on your iPhone. Just download it for free, and we could test it at both places on the property. So where the RV park is 40 acres, and then there's agricultural land that surrounds it to the county road. Dennis is my only neighbor. So what I would say to you, Dennis, is that like you can call me. We have each other's phone number. When you flip your tractor, I was the first one out there with Lynn to help you out. So if you have a problem, just call me. And so I don't know you, sir, but I'll give you my phone number if there's a problem. We're not here to like cause a bunch of mischief, or it's like we live there. So if there's a problem with the property, then we address it as the first enforcement mechanism. So when the police came out, they took that decibel reader at the county road. It was 45. The ambient noise at the road was 45 decibels. So what shaking the windows for 10 miles, just think about what that actually means. We are a 3-day event. 3 days. Construction lasts a year. Somebody builds a house next door, pounding, drilling, beeping, that goes on all day. Oh, but the argument is, what about me? This is for 3 days, 2 nights. So to say that like 2 nights that somebody like can't call us, or that we can't come up with some options, we're here to engage the community, so engage with us. And we're here to be good neighbors. So Mariah's already come up with like a number of mitigation plan, but the idea that like we don't make a lot of money, so this event is important to us. We are community members, and we're not filling up the RV park. And Dennis, you've been complaining about everything that we've done at the park for 30 years. You show up at every meeting, and because when I bought the ranch, your name is every step of the way you fought it. So it's okay. I still love you, man. We're neighbors. So I'm still here to help you. I'm still here to be a good neighbor. And if something sucks, just bring it up to me and we'll work together. But to try to obstruct what we're doing here, when we're just trying to like engage the rest of the community, I think it's frustrating. And so to say that it's a public health risk to have loud music, then turn the music down. And if you're saying to us, like, turn our music down, like, we're like nearly a mile away. Like when you go to the county road, first of all, the 40 acre that's a separate parcel, as you've already pointed out. That 40 acres is now surrounded by a buffer zone. That buffer zone, we put the music in. If this is where the stage is, we blast it at the hills. So to mitigate, we've already thought of these things. And so, okay, I don't know what to tell you other than call me if there's a problem. If you would have called me, we'll try to work it out. If you guys call me, we'll try to work it out. We would be happy to offer you a nice stay. We'd happy to like come up with some solutions and put our heads together. That's okay for us. But it's important to us that this gets taken care of. I guess the next thing is the like I heard that there was like people puffing and smoking weed and like, I didn't observe anything like that last year. And I'm particularly sensitive to, like, I don't care if somebody smokes a cigarette, I care because of the fire risk. So what somebody does to their own health is their own business, it's not my business, but if they're gonna light a fire on my property, that is my business. And so I share your concerns, Dennis, that was the number one thing that we enforced every single meeting that we had with Mariah last year was fire mitigation. That is our biggest fear at the ranch, is that somebody throws a spare cigarette, somebody idles their car for too long, so we take like, we water down the area that where people would park. And so the other thing was the traffic. There, one coach that Mariah found holds 40 people. So that's one person, there's 300 cars, like that sounds absurd. There weren't 300 cars on our property, we would have known about that. So, no offense, I'm not trying to, like, your experience is your experience, I'm not gonna argue with it, but our experience was there were not 300 cars on the property. Otherwise, we would have had a conversation with Ryan. So, I think that, oh, and so there was also an argument made about the address being incorrect. That's a Google Maps issue. So we've corrected the Google Maps issue. We have the correct address. We had actually contacted Google. Because as somebody pointed out, when somebody put in our address, they were going to the trash. Whatever the trash, is that what you're talking about, the trash?
Just below the land.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Right
Yeah,
there, the
thank you.
landfill, that's on the application.
Yeah, but that's been corrected, that was corrected, maybe 2 years ago, and
It's in
so,
your application right now.
well. If the address, I haven't looked at the application like as closely to find out if the address is correct. But that seems like a pretty simple fix if they got one number off for but you know, so if you enter our address, we'll just go. So as far as like emergency services, the police had no problem finding us. They actually drove through our property and they found us to be in compliance. So the idea that we're like somehow running this like, I don't know, I guess I just would encourage you guys, like if you guys were trying to host a party at your house or an event at your house. That you guys would kind of want, like, one, engage with your neighbors as we're doing, we're here to engage. So if you have a problem, call us. And so, but to say, like, try to like restrict our ability to use, we're in the country too. This is part of the reason that we moved out here, is so that we can do things that are like enjoyable, and the wellness of it is exactly the type of thing that I want on our property. And it's exactly the type of thing I want to encourage for this strategy. And so I actually think it is a public benefit to have these types of things for the things that Mariah's already enumerated, even though it's a private event. So see if I have anything else. Yeah, I think that's it. And so if you guys have any other questions, and if Mariah wants to answer any questions, then we'll just turn it over to her. Unless I further that. And I actually really appreciate the invitation. So I have no hurt feelings at all for anyone. So yeah, and we can still continue to be neighbors. And you guys want to come over? Come over. We're happy to host you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Okay, comments from the site visit? Glenn,
So Skip went and Kit went and Daryl went to the site visit.
do you guys have any comments?
It's a nice area, there's a lot of trees out there. Where they said they were putting the stage does point to the hills and the trees away from the neighbors. But as we all know in the country, sound carries, it just carries, there's nothing you can do about it. Besides people building up over the tent, maybe to keep the sound in. That's the only thing I saw, and we didn't split the rest of the property, we only were to that little area that was So there's room for all the parking, I don't know if there's room for 300 cars. But I don't know if that's ever been established if that is true. But we didn't see it last year. But, yeah. I'll go over some questions I have later.
It. From the site visit, it looks to me like they comply with everything and everything that they presented. There was nothing that I saw out of line with what was in the application.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed with the setup. And I thought that sort of, I was wondering about the stage where we weren't allowed to really go down, we were kind of held back. But the stage seemed to be in a place, and then the speakers over here. The walkways over here, we didn't see them. So that looked okay. I'm not, I don't know if we needed to do that, but I was impressed with, they were kind. Give us a lot of information, and it seemed to me that they knew what they were doing. And I didn't know about the sound, we never thought, we did mention leaving. When we left, returned in the car, all of us said, boy, this thing is now as noisy. I finally went right here, I'd be a little worried. That I think it was possible.
And we'll close the hearing, we'll turn it over to the planning commission. The discussion.
Yes, I have some questions. For you, Steve and Mariah. On the, Mariah, look at your website. How many followers do you have on this website? I can add.
On my website,
Huh?
you're
I
asking
guess-
how many followers I have on my website?
Yes.
I'm not sure the amount of traffic on the website. I can absolutely check.
Well, but then, also from your website, is that where it's advertised and bringing people here to this event on the website? Is that where most of your promotions comes from?
The tickets are sold on MultiPass online, but it's promoted through my website and through a personal community.
So my question, what are night people? You mentioned night people on the website. What is a night person?
I'm not sure what you're saying. You said 9-person?
Yeah, it says night people. You're here to the night people. Whatever. It is.
I'm sorry, I can't quite understand what you're saying clearly enough to answer that. Can you repeat that one more time?
So what are night people? That's what you mentioned on one of your sites, somewhere night people.
It's really hard for us to hear. I'm so sorry. Us remote people, yeah.
If
Can
someone
some-
could put the question in the chat, I'm happy to answer it, or maybe a microphone.
Yeah, or just repeat.
Night people. So this is mentioned in one of your areas there. I'm just trying to figure out what a night person is.
I think he's asking about your night monitors, Mariah.
The sound decibel readings? I'm not sure what you mean by night.
It's on one of your websites, it's on one of your websites, or it's on one of your. I pulled up 3 different things. And that's what was mentioned, and I was trying to figure out, trying to get an idea of the type of people that come here, is what I'm trying to get. When it says night people, what does that mean?
I don't recall the words night people on my website. I'd be happy to address that if you want to send that over to me. As far as the people attending this event, this is a very conscious, respectful, small community that's focused in the arts, that supports music, that likes wellness, that also likes the outdoors. Agape Valley was the perfect place for it because of the nature, as well as the fact that Agape Valley leans into the wellness programming, and their values. We also lean into our wellness values, and that's what we mainly focus on. So it's a very small, respectful crowd. We promote wellness. We don't promote drinking. We don't promote smoking. We don't promote drugs. This is a community-based event, very supportive, small, tight community.
How many security guards are gonna be there? How many were there last year?
All of our team is trained in security. We don't have a specific security team that we have hired yet. We're happy to address that if that's something that's needed. Although when we did notify the sheriffs, they said that that wasn't needed for this capacity. Again, all of our attendees will be staying on site, but the staff will be surpassing the amount of attendees. So there'll be a higher ratio of staff controlling and watching, making sure that everything's in line and we're in good stewardship with the land, as well as all of the rules that not only the event, but the county and the land requires of us.
Right. So they're not really from a security company, they're individuals that work for you, that are security? Is that what I'm hearing?
They don't work for me. Everyone that's coming to this event is volunteering. So just a bunch of people that love wellness, love the outdoors, and care about community and arts. We will have multiple calls leading up to the event, training in all of our emergency protocols, the fire regulations, and any other concerns as well. All of our staff and team will be made well aware of any requirements that you all set.
Yeah, just based on when you go into security for events, that they say a low risk event, which is usually indoors, meetings during the day, is 1 to 2 guards is what they recommend. If it's a medium risk, which is usually outside type events, 3 to 5 guards is what they recommend. Just in case something gets out of control, just in case somebody shows up, all that, when they're not supposed to be there, all that stuff. But that's kind of been, that's a baseline for security, just FYI. That size group, 150, outside, 3 to 5 guards. Security guards.
Is that me event?
We didn't have any issues last year.
Even like
But
a wedding?
I understand that. I understand that, but you don't know what the future holds.
No, you're
Not in today's world. We don't have any clue what tomorrow will be.
Yeah,
And some people, you guys are meaning all well, but somebody could show up that shouldn't be there. Or they're doing, and really the marijuana, you smell marijuana. You don't smell acid, you don't smell coke, you don't smell the stuff that really is the bad stuff. You don't smell that stuff.
I really smell good.
Huh? You what?
Okay.
Okay, you smoke coke, yeah. You don't smell heroin, you don't smell, but those are not heroin, somebody does that, there's no problem. They're not gonna be out looking to kill somebody. Neither marijuana.
Yeah,
But coke people and some of those guys, coke heads and stuff, that's kind of what I concern about, because you don't know, because they can do that in the tent.
yeah,
You walk out.
yeah, I mean, like, for me, I've never drank, never done drugs, I've like, and so when we attract, like, we ran into Mariah, she had this idea, we listened to it last year, and we kind of like cautiously were like, okay, well, let's give it a shot and see how it goes. And then we were like really pleasantly surprised, and so as far as the security element, she did have, maybe 4 to 6 people that were continuously roving around, the organization with walkie-talkies, and they were kind of like patrolling, looking for, and like just needing that sorts And there were one of the issues that we were aware of last year, and we went to the events as well, you know, every night. And just kind of like go around, run around, dance a little bit to some music, and then I went home. And my house is 400 feet from the event. It's 400. It's a big problem. So again, the quarters of a mile, and my windows weren't shaking, so. It's just. Something consider.
Their position, we actually have 14 EMDs. Yeah, 14 EMDs.
Yeah, it got some meeting pieces and it's last year. Sorry, right, it's it comes out of the allows us to.
And I have some questions, just my own education.
They had further questions to put in the chat. Is security guard requirements for any event considered medium risk even weddings? And then where are medium and low risk events defined? That was from the Stellar Inn.
Higher the cost. So it's down in the cost, they're having to do with cost. Higher the cost, they're higher. No, only private.
I'm having a hard time hearing. Is sorry, were those answered? I'm having a really hard time understanding and hearing.
There are any ways that they have to shut down the music or later. I'm sure there, I would just as a further reminder, last year, they had like a silent issue they have 30 or 30 people with headphones and going on the site. But the video entities were actually it's anonymous. But they're, you know, stage, their main stage had. It depended on music, sometimes they use it, sometimes they use it for bass. That's what I'm actually, I was service the bass heavy music. So every way, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or whatever you go to, headphones for everybody on the outside, and we did it. So I really, they were sort of. Can you hear me asking?
No, they can't hear at all. So we're either gonna have to like yell or cut it out, because.
Can you just type for, you're looking to know what is the earliest that you'd be willing to stop the stage music?
We're willing to work with the neighbors. Again, I don't.
I'm sorry, she's trying to talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're willing to work with the neighbors and county. You know, last year again we were under the decibel limits. We did turn it down, but as far as this year, we do have the silent disco programming, so that should eliminate all concerns as far as that goes. If you don't mind, I'd love to address some of the other concerns.
We're just gonna have to go on, because we can't hear nothing.
Can you hear her?
No, barely, and it's because of the head.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
That's good.
Okay, yeah, I would love the opportunity to just address these concerns really quick. Also, obviously, I want to say thank you for addressing these concerns. I do
You're gonna have
welcome.
to speak louder, or we're not gonna be able to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, like I said, I welcome the concerns that have been raised. Our goal is not to dismiss them, but I do want to respond to them clearly and responsibly. To provide some context, we did not hold a formal hearing last year because it wasn't required at that time, but we did still follow all applicable county requirements and regulations. In terms of scale, last year's event had approximately 140 attendees and staff. So 140, including the attendees and staff. Most of the attendees carpooled, which we estimated probably 70 vehicles, if that, probably less than that. For this year, we're intentionally reducing the impact, including keeping the programming primarily during the daytime hours, as well as the carpooling options. We do take noise very seriously, as far as those calls. Last year, we did address those concerns, and confirm that we're within the county limits. I understand that it still shook windows, and we do take that very seriously. This year, we are adding additional mitigation measures, including obviously the decibel monitoring, which we did read the decibels with the sheriffs with our on-site decimal readers. We probably had up to 5 at the event last year. And so that was confirmed with the sheriff. They may have not had one themselves, but our team is well equipped with those. I also want to be clear that we strongly encourage a wellness-focused environment. We can't control individual behavior entirely, as I'm sure the county can't in any other public spaces. But we do set expectations that align with the nature of this event, including discouraging smoking and alcohol use, and then complying fully with the fire restrictions, including obviously the no smoking policies. We're prepared to support the rodent site conditions, including funding a water truck if needed, to manage the dust and rodent impact. And then in terms of community impact, we are working with local partners such as the Stellar Inn, who has raised some concerns and questions, which we hope that will provide a positive economic benefit to nearby businesses. We're encouraging attendees to shop locally for food and supply during their stay. So making sure that they buy groceries before they come and camp and filling up with gas before they leave. All vendors will be permitted, insured, and documented, and that will be submitted to the county prior to the event. We don't have anything locked in right now, but we do have a couple people in mind, as well as people from the city, or from your county, I'm sorry, that have interest in being a vendor, and they're well aware of the regulations, including the insurance and the food regulation policies. Again, overall, our intention is a small, respectful, wellness-focused gathering. It's supposed to bring positive energy to the area, minimize impact, and we're fully aware of all of the concerns, and we're ready to address and make sure that we're fully in compliance with county expectations, but also making sure that the neighbors are taken care of. The Stellar Inn, we've talked about possibly putting the neighbors in the Stellar Inn as well for the duration of the weekend. So that is an option if that is of interest to surrounding neighbors. I know that I can't take away that the event maybe isn't something that you agree upon, or you don't like, or you wouldn't attend yourself, but we can promise that we will be intentional and make sure that this is safe, respectful, and you guys are taken care of.
Okay, thank you. Back to the plan commission. Further discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I'm James Gilbert, Associated. So I heard the concerns of the nearby landowners with respect to sound. And I also heard the amelioration learned from last year about what to do about sound. So it sounds like that's been addressed to an extent that we know of until the event happens. I've heard the concerns about potential illicit drug use and whatnot, but at the same time, this is a wellness group. It's highly unlikely that that risk is anywhere near as high as the risk in the common for the same thing. So at that point, I can't, and Daryl said it, we can't predict future behavior or future actions based upon the past, and that holds true of the noise and issues from before. So what I've heard is that there was an event. There were issues with that event, noticed by the neighbors and talked about and brought here by the neighbors. And the landowner and the event planner have addressed many of those and hope and believe that those concerns will be addressed sufficiently. And the only thing I can say is we have no way of knowing until the event happens, if it does. I would hate to see events like this utilizing the natural beauty of the county get discouraged or refused because of the, well, this can happen type of approach. And just shut off special events. A lot of things that are special events, from weddings to birthday parties to reunions, all of which smack of the same types of issues that this event is talking about. So that's all I'll say.
Anything further from the planning commission?
The only difference in that is the way, if we get special events for a wedding and things like that, there is a curfew more or less. 10 o'clock, they're shut down. Well, I mean, they're shut down. And that's part of the rulings that we put in these things. And so if something's gonna go to 1:30, I don't have a problem if it's gonna go to 1:30, but at 10 o'clock, they need to put on their earphones and listen to the music that way, since they have that capability. The issue is the loud music late at night. That's the major issue while these neighbors are here.
Yeah.
And so that's what you guys got to either curtail or solve. My personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else on this committee but me. And so, I mean, if I'm sitting there at 11 o'clock at night trying to go to bed, which most people here, sometimes I go to bed at 9:30. My wife gets so old like that, but there's nothing else to do. So watch TV, then I don't want to hear boom, 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 boom. I don't want to hear that. I would have a fit and would go out, get my car, let me talk about it, and go see what the heck's going on.
Would, at the risk of sounding, like trite, but if we distributed like wax ear plugs to people, all our neighbors, would that be a?
Well, here's the issue. Well, here's the issue. You're right in where my nose begins. That's the truth of it. And so they can, put earplugs in. Look, you guys can play music till 1:30 in the morning. That's not an answer. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to.
I understand, but there's gotta be some other way to solve that issue besides playing music at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. There has to be.
Yeah, I understand, and I guess my only counter would be, it is a weekend. And it is private property, and to the extent that it's inconvenient, then like, I live on the property, so when she had her part of when we had the event last year. And I went to bed, music hadn't stopped. And it didn't disturb me, but maybe I'm not as sensitive to music as everybody else, and so I guess that's where I'm kind of like, maybe being a little less sensitive than it could be.
Well, if this event was being held in Denver, would they allow it to go at 1:30 in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, they would have the same standards as the Denver.
There's something in Dallas and Fort Worth, and I tell you, they would have done that. They wouldn't allow it.
We used our, I think at the meeting I shared that we used the Denver's standard for assembly. When we couldn't figure out, like, Custer County didn't have noise ordinance. And so I think, like, as inconvenient as it is, I'm not trying to like be rude, but there is no noise ordinance, so. So then if
There is a noise ordinance, it doesn't specify decibel, but there is a noise ordinance in Kansas.
Yeah, and so what I found, I didn't find anything when I looked last year, so what we did is we first, like Denver, so if there's an event in Denver, what do they do, so we can at least find the best practices. And so and so I guess I'm just trying, maybe I should like be quiet, because if Mariah is offering to, have everybody put on the headphones, then, great, that seems like that solves the problem.
Well, I'm not saying all day long, but at a certain time of night, I totally agree with these neighbors.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that
so-
sound is traveling across that valley, like you wouldn't do that in cities because it would hit a building or hit a building or hit a building.
Well, and then down in Denver, they closed the places down at 2 o'clock, and so,
Right.
that is, and so it's quite loud when you go downtown and you go on Denver, it's especially on the weekend. And people that live in those condos have the same types of complaints, like, hey, this that bar is really loud and aggressive, and then it closes down at 2 o'clock, and that was sort of compromised, and so. Maybe that could be the compromise, is come up with a time, I think you guys have already said that, 10 o'clock on weekends seems. If Mariah is willing to agree to that, then I'll let her speak to it, but like 2 AM seems like more reasonable, but I'm also. I'm a property owner, so I want her to have a good time.
The only choice is you have farmers out here, farmers get up at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who they are. And so.
Okay, so real quick, I think that we were in like planning commission talk and we really need to like keep going. We saw it on other applications.
Like open for a motion?
Yes, I am.
Do you wanna do it, or me to?
You can, but
I would be happy to. I move that. We recommend the VOCC not approve the Agape special event application.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? Not will seek the vote. Mike. Aye.
Aye.
Daryl.
Because of the noise issue, I would say,
Skip. Aye. I vote. Any reasons? Bill.
Because of this disturbance to the neighboring. To the neighbors. I mean, if I raised a witness, 2 people have had. Witness vibrating, it must have been loud, so past experience would say that. This is not appropriate for this area.
Justin. I would agree the noise is an issue, and the neighbors. Not agreeing with the whole system, is a bigger issue. If they're gonna do a program like this, they need to do it in an area that is much more open to noise problems. As well as the road issue. Too many people. Daryl.
I hate to go against somebody trying to go make a living. That totally drives me nuts, because I know this is something that probably helps you guys pay for your land and everything like that. There's no resolution to the noise issue. There's not
Can
being
you-
presented.
Can you guys hear me?
Right now, we're talking, please. That should have been, that you knew that was an issue, that should have been solved prior to this meeting coming in to tell us we solved an issue. Then we might not be voting this way. But that's why I would like that vote. If you can solve that, then maybe different next time.
This is an agricultural residential area, not a for-profit loud event area. It's not a wedding, it's not a nonprofit event, it's not a reunion, it is not appropriate for the event.
It's good.
The noise makes them think it's a good idea for the county to have, that means you This is a long location. Sorry, so I don't see gentlemen, with wife, be able to use their property. This is what the architect used for it. Market.
Yeah, I was just the store only look at from last year. That's all we have to look at, but we won't.
Okay, I would have to say that history of last year's spin lays into a lot of my decision. And I'm not seeing anything really remedy anything that's happened last year.
If the headphones were gonna be.
It's, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we're done. The hearing was over a while ago.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. Beavers.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
Yes, thank you.
Motion carries. That item is completion. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a special use permit. For potential recreational area. On Highway 69, West Cliff, Colorado. Yeah, it's stated. Yeah.
Nice to hear that, right? Hi, I'm Devin Tilley. Want to start by thanking Delana for all the help all along the way, or even guidance on the potential long-term plan that I'm here to talk to you about today. I want to start by saying the last time I walked in here was when my wife and I came here to get our marriage license, as we come down here to enjoy this wonderful valley and now standing here to talk to you about what we want to do there, where I've been enjoying these grounds ever since. I think about one of the first times I came down here and played golf at St. Andrews and walked there and said, if you bring back a rattlesnake, your round is free. And I was like, this is just such a cool environment. And so I think back as 1980 when my in-laws bought the old back 9 and we got married down here and enjoying this. We're really proud to say 3 generations. My daughter just turned 11 and we just celebrated our 48th year of what we call Dad's Day. That when my wife was 3 years old, she started coming down here, and my daughter when she was 1.5. Been having as much fun as possible ever since. So the land came up for sale adjacent to us that we purchased that, and my goal is to share it with others and get a full-time caretaker unit in there that I've mapped out in the master plan with a long-term plan that help from people, great people in the valley. So I want to do private retreats with some ranch golf. And so question I put a thing on Facebook for anybody wanting to come and talk with me, listening to all this earlier is, how do you play golf with no water? That's the question I think I'm thinking here. We're all trying to figure out is how do you have as much fun as possible and work hard and play hard with all the other ranchers in the community. And I got this idea of, let's use fake grass. Let's just use the land that's there. So we've been playing around and the concept is how do we maintain the grounds that we have out here today using artificial turf that doesn't need water? How do I not just put a bunch of houses in between us? That's how this all started, right? Trent Stafford. On the other side, 3 generations of being good friendly neighbors with the race boys and everybody around us. We've been putting this together of saying, okay, let's get one perimeter fence and let's lay out a setup where the ranch golf and the ball never goes outside the fence. Because we're right on Highway 69 and a lot of other places, right? So we don't want anybody turning in and out of Highway 69. As people go down there, they go fast when they're coming through the west side. So everything is turned off for Horn Road. And I'm here to discuss how to have as much fun as possible and give legacy to the ranchers that have been in the valley for many generations. And how do we have as much fun as possible and take care of it in the future? Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Were there any letters?
I did have one letter for this one. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It was super duper long, but just to recap, she was just kind of worried, about the fact that it was on, agricultural land, the water issue, and then she was also concerned about lighting.
Concerned about what? Concerned about what?
Lighting,
Oh,
like the dark skies wheel, yeah.
Yeah, we said, and when permitted, it's dark skies and we look at the stars.
okay, public comment. Yes. Sandy, you could go ahead and get down.
Thanks, everyone.
Good afternoon, commissioners, and yes, it is wonderful to have this rain. My name is Chris Ehrenberg, and I'm asking you to deny this variance. And if you're not prepared to deny it today, then I'm asking you to continue the discussion on the variance.
Can you have your name and your address, please?
Chris Ehrenberg at 936 County Road 137.
Where is that?
So, go down Hermit to 137, head left and 2 miles. So it's at the corner of 136 and 137. It's Kettle Lane, but the post office doesn't recognize it as Kettle Lane, that's County Road 137.
Okay, so you live before the battle.
I live in the Lake subdivision.
Okay, thank you.
So, this is really not just a golf project. This is a commercial recreation and event use that's being proposed in open ranch country along a state highway in a high wind, high elevation valley. Water is limited, cattle are present, wildlife is active, and it's a very rural character in our valley. And it appears, looking on YouTube and stuff, this project has been in the works for almost 3 years. They started this project before they ever applied for a variance. That's not how the process is supposed to, my understanding is, you apply for the variance when you have the idea, you don't start, they're literally out already doing excavating and plotting out the land and the holes and stuff before they ever get the variance. So to me, that is kind of outside of the way it's supposed to happen. I'm concerned about the artificial turf. Artificial turf degrades. First off, it degrades with altitude, it degrades and with UV exposure. And then it breaks down into what is called microplastics. So it cracks, it breaks down, becomes tiny little pieces of plastic. It blows all over the valley, it gets into our runoff. So then we have more plastics exposed, and it has to be constantly maintained and updated. And then it also contains PFSAs, I think it's PFSAs, and which is a forever type of chemical that leaches into the ground and is actually been outlawed by Colorado state law now. So we don't know what kind of artificial turf they're planning to use. We don't have any evidence about that, what product they're using. Then on top of it, out in that area, there's a colony of prairie dogs. Prairie dogs burrow, they will attack the artificial turf, they'll create more holes, and that deteriorates it even faster. And then the prairie dogs invite what? Snakes. Honestly, I can't imagine going out there and sticking my hand down into a hole to grab out a golf ball. I can't. I just cannot imagine putting my hand in it and getting bit by a snake. So then there's the water issue because again, it's a commercial environment and you still have to have water for, because they're talking about having a convention center, an event center, a golf club, place, a caretaker place. There's all these different things on their YouTube that they're talking about, and all of these things are going to require the water. And we're talking commercial water in our valley. I don't know that I don't know the laws about whether or not well water is allowed to be used for a commercial purpose. And whether or not we have enough well water available or groundwater available to support commercial enterprise off of that. And then let's talk about our rent. I don't think anybody is going to say that we don't have high rent in our valley. So I think we needed some kind of a study to say which direction are these golf balls going to be going? And then to make sure that they're not going to fly out onto 69 and hit some driver going at 65 miles an hour down Highway 69 around dangerous curves. And so I really think that there's a lot of different issues, and I'm going to leave you with my full commentary and the questions that I have so that you guys can review it. But I don't think at this time it should be something, really, do we need it all in a rural community? Do we need a golf course in a rural community? How many ranchers are going to actually go out and golf? They're out working, and let's talk about their cattle. Okay, so there are cows all around there. The cows are gonna get through the fences, the cows are gonna get onto that artificial turf, the cows are gonna destroy that artificial turf. Are they going to sue the ranchers because the ranchers' cows have destroyed their turf? What kind of litigation and liability is there for that? Because I don't know, I live off of Highway 137, and we've got tons of cattle out there, and on a regular basis, I'm shooting cattle back into their pastures because they've gotten out of their fence. So those are my concerns, and I just really do not like this proposal.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any further public comment? Planning Commission.
Your site visit?
Site visit.
Yes.
So Skip and Daryl and Kit went.
Yep, any comments?
Just it would have been kind of nice if someone would have been there to guide us around. We sort of followed the map and figured out from the signs where you proposed your improvements. It didn't seem to have any of the amenities there yet. It's all bare ground for the most part. Some of the golf balls are there. And then I was concerned when I looked at the maps, when we were at the site, that there was only a part of the project that wasn't included in the application. There was a parcel of land that belonged to someone whose name didn't appear in the application. So that's things that I can go with from the site visit.
Skip.
I was impressed with the idea. But as Kit said, there was nobody there to tell us. It's absolutely, it's a waste of time. And I can't see the potentials. I think it's a great idea for the county. I've gone through this thing three times trying to figure out questions to ask. Can't read it. And I think it's a proposal for the money, so I figured that it's just something that's a far-fetched idea. And we're just starting something, it's fine to say to go ahead with it, but we have to set up conditions that it has to go through some steps. And what they wanna do and what it's gonna take is we're talking some money. And so I think for the county's sake, and used for a past experience I've seen here and another, where I've been from before, I'm from California. Things like this end up being a problem for the government to take care of and clean them.
Yeah.
So I like the idea, and I put them houses or apartments there. That I think we just have to, they could use a lot of water. It's gonna take more thought there or more information. And all that.
Daryl.
Prairie dog holes everywhere. Well, they have artificial grass already out there. Where the windmills are. By the way, every time you drive down Highway 69. And the sun's shining, those windmills blind you. I hate it. I hate the windmills.
These are pump water.
No, they're just windmills they stuck them, which really bothers me. But the prairie dog holes everywhere, they're gonna get a golf or break his ankle, and that whoever puts this, if they were to do this, it's gonna get sued. You gotta kill every prairie dog. You're gonna have to annihilate them, because they will destroy a golf course, so the moles. And there must have been, I'm not counting 100, 200 holes over there. I mean, it's just crazy. We stepped on some of the grass that was out there. And I nearly sunk in a hole that was underneath the carpet. Now they are making now artificial turf that is superb to what they used to make 5 years ago. So they have created artificial turf that would work out there. Question is, they don't work with prairie dogs. You gotta get rid of the prairie dogs, or you're gonna get a liability and lawsuit. My biggest concern was mentioned, the wind. I used to be doing a scratch golfer. I know what good courses are. I don't know how you would lay out the course so that you don't hit a golf ball with an apex of about 100 yards in the air and the wind not catch it and take it off the Highway 69. I don't know how you'd do that out there. You'd have to get your holes away or have all your tee boxes pointing away from Highway 69. And still, I've seen people hit the ball backwards. It's strange, but golf is golf. I think it's a great idea. It'd be nice to have a golf course in West Cliff, but Highway 69 is a dangerous area. And I've been on courses that weren't laid out correctly, driving down a fairway and a golf ball just went right between us. And I've had that happen several times, been hit early on the golf course by other golfers, because you get hackers. You don't get professional people that hit the ball straight, you get hackers. They slice, they hook. And my gosh, I was a teenager once, we used to hit off the hills the wrong way. To see how far we get something down the highway. Done that before. So how would you control that? You couldn't. So that does worry me a little bit. The location is a challenge. And water to me is a challenge out there.
Bill.
I just have maybe a goofy question, but I don't think it is. With artificial turf, how do you keep the wind from blowing it away? How is it anchored down?
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yes, please.
We put sand and stakes.
With what?
You just put dirt and stakes in the ground and then
Around the edge?
all through it.
Oh, okay. It'll be a good proving ground for it.
Because it is heavy. It's thousands of pounds to move a roll with. Like, it requires heavy equipment to move it. A man, up to three men could not lift it and wheel it back.
There's sand built into it,
Yeah, sand and rubber, yeah.
so it's so thick or how thick?
It's 2 inches.
2 1/4, and then half of it is filled, so you.
So
it's heavy.
so it's a heavy product.
Very.
Very, okay.
Okay, as far as the water goes.
Yeah, I've seen our piece.
I mean, you've got to have commercial use water for
for your buildings.
Yeah,
How are you gonna provide that?
based on well that's on the property.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Is that a commercial well?
Do you have a commercial well on your property?
What was that?
Do you have a commercial well on your property?
Yeah, the well on the property can do 3 structures and we have to work water rights for the additional.
That's domestic.
So you have water rights on that piece?
The well water rights, yeah.
No.
You'd have to open up water, is that right?
For additional, so yeah.
No.
Just to do this. But if you're going, or, I mean, you've got a clubhouse, glamping, you've got cabins. You know, none of that's residential, it's all commercial. So you're gonna have to have commercial water.
Yeah, a lot of it.
My other concern is I asked, which Delana sent to the applicant for a plat. I want to see a plat layout of this place, which plat would give us the buildings, the golf holes, everything. That was never applied to us, never given to us.
I emailed, I hired.
That's not a plat, you did not email a plat, you emailed of what I would use to probably get invested. That's not what I asked for, I asked for a plat. A plat would tell me those golf hole dimensions, would tell me everything the building, you sent something that shows the building dimensions, but the layout of the land, I see nothing, and we have nothing on it. I have little bitty holes, I don't even know what they mean.
Yeah, so I laid out the whole master plan for this meeting today and then answering all the questions.
Yes, sir, but an 8.5 sheet paper doesn't do any good when I'm having to use a magnifying glass and still don't understand what it's saying. A plat tells me everything that I needed to know, and that was not provided as it was requested 2.5 weeks ago. Delana sent that information to you. So we don't have enough information on this, on what is proposed to even say outside the water to say whether we don't have any idea what's really gonna go there. We have no idea.
Mary.
I think that we need to hear an actual water plan with a commercial well. And we also need to know specifically the composition of the artificial turf. We need to know what that's made out of.
Bring us a piece, let us.
No.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah, so I apologize, I didn't know, I would love to be back out there to get your feedback on the grounds, we've been. 30 years, drive walking around this ground, just enjoying it and trying to be safe and all of the concern you brought up are valid, we live every day with them.
I mean, the new turf, football, play football on it, they do everything, it's not the same as turf that you buy on it's not the same. But yeah, it's very pricey.
No, it's also requires maintenance. That
Does require maintenance.
And are they at our elevation with open land?
The new stuff, yes, ma'am, it is okay for UV ready.
And UV, so.
So there's some things that are not our concern. I mean, if somebody will maintenance, I expect you to just take care of the place. We can't base decisions on that, but for instance, water is a serious issue. Do you happen to have live water rights out of the ditch that go to or decree your property?
You do not.
You do not. So you're dealing right now with just a domestic well.
Correct.
So you basically have no way to augment. You could do any kind of an augmentation plan because there's no exchange of water.
Right.
So it would be drilling, in this case, literally approval through the state of drilling a commercial. Getting approval to drill a commercial well.
True.
Yeah.
What about the septic issue? I mean, you're talking about sleeping 50 people. What does that entail?
Well, they could do multiple septic systems, or they could do a commercial, whatever they wanted to do. But you can have multiple systems on your grounds. He could do one for the house, he could do one for, you know, he'd have to do a commercial for the lodge, of course.
And the restaurant,
And, huh?
and the restaurant.
The restaurant would, it could be a 2,000 gallon tank. But as far as the lodge would have to be commercial. But the cabins, the RV hookups and all that, he could have multiple systems. Depending on how much of the land he wants to utilize for leach fields, cause then you can't drive it.
Yes.
Yeah, I went out by the property to take a peek at it, and right now, it looks to me like the Wench Golf concept is a artificial turf tee to an artificial turf green with a pasture and fairway. Is that
Yeah, so I grew up in South Dakota where I.
Right,
I said, so I grew up, we put a bucket in the ground playing pasture golf and I.
so the artificial turf is limited. So that's not that big of a deal. However, many of those poles are already in place, so that's a little odd. The website talks about a 19-hole type of affair, which currently now I think is friendly sharing with whiskey out of a modified horse trailer. A couple of the proposed sleeping quarters are basically kind of shacks, I guess, or sheds, nice sheds. There's a fancy old cabin on the property, so it all looks kind of different than the proposed and incapable. But the common thread through both is that it's a private retreat to come have fun and raise a glass of bourbon and stuff like this, which concerns me for the county if it's a private affair. I don't know how many residents of the county are gonna shell out some sort of membership dues to do this kind of thing. But, you know, that's not a business plan I would follow. The other thing is, and looking at the zoning resolution. Special use permits for zone 1, which this is in. Are for augmentation or support of the existing agriculture or ranching zoning prospects, and I'm not sure how a golf course with room for guests, which will again be in, you know, you have to monitor lodging tax and all that stuff, but room for guests and stuff supports the improvement of agriculture and ranching in the valley as a special use permit required to do for recreation of special use.
Anything else, Bill?
I think this might qualify as a sketch plan. That's about it.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna have to have more information on the water. Oh, yes.
And the turf,
And
and an actual plat map
you know,
needs to be cleaned up and presented in a more finalized manner.
And it might take several tries before it's acceptable to make a decision on. This is just your first step, in my opinion.
Probably, I never want to step on anybody's ideas, I don't like to do that. But I think that if an approval of a special use permit of this kind of scope. You know, I'm counting with 16 buildings, I think when you figured out the effluent coming from all of those, if they were all occupied. You're now way beyond the septic system, you're in a sewage treatment plant at that point. Which would have to be accommodated some way, and would be in conjunction with your water rights. The idea of augmented water being provided for a golf course is not a new thing in Custer County. We had a 9-hole golf course that had augmented water. It was from live water that actually flowed across the place. And it had anticipated a lodge. It had 15 less than 1 acre lots out there contemplated in doing. All of those things were actually all in their auto plan. But their auto plan took a couple of years to accomplish. And they actually had some water rights to begin with that they were augmented. So there are some things in this that we were to approve a special use permit for this that was 16 occupancy cabins as well as RV size. That would be the scope that these kinds of questions will need to be answered. The idea was, how are you going to handle the sewage? Is your highway access adequate? It comes onto a county road first when you come in, which is a very logical way to do it. But the highway department sometimes has things to say about that county road's access when you increase the volume that close to the highway. I don't play golf. I think all my balls would go backwards. So I can't address the golf part of it. I won't even pretend to understand that part. But I have seen things like what you're doing. Greens and tees, artificial, mowed pasture land in between. You know, it's done all the time. Texans play golf too, and they don't have as much water as we do. So that's not the issue. What I'm concerned about are the things that are contemplated. And if we approve them at this level, then all you have to do is go build a couple of them, apply for your septic permit because it's within this plan. But I think we would be short-sighted if we weren't looking at the thing as it might be in total, which is what you present. The third question is about sewer and water and access that concern me. I'm not even voting today. You're not even supposed to be talking.
Yes, you can talk about what?
Keep talking. Well, you talked at the BZA meeting, so I guess we can keep talking, but I am not voting on this issue. I threw those things out there as my input.
Access.
Mike, I just want to make sure Kit and I are on the same page on this whole thing. The thing that made that work down there is there was a lot of water going through it. And they had water rights.
And that makes a lot of difference.
And they
Huge
had,
difference. Because this here is gonna be a pretty big mountain to climb.
yeah,
Because there is no ditch right, there is no black water, there is no creek ground for any type of ditch right.
Nothing
They're
there.
what the obligation on one point of it. That's what I was looking at.
And they had that storage units as well. There's no way to store them.
Which is the same way with Permanent Basin. Storage of cohesive North Hollands.
They're not insurmountable, they're just big things that get done.
they're expensive and very time consuming. Lengthy, yes.
Okay. Any further discussion from the planning commission? Do we have to have a motion to table this for now, or?
I think that they would be.
I make a motion to table this.
I'll second.
Okay, indefinitely.
Well, you have to give them, what is required to move forward.
Right, okay, then somebody gotta help me out with that, I'm just saying we can't vote on this.
I think it's been talked about.
Well, can we say that, we move to
Until we get evidence on the water.
sewer, water, access, road access, and I still wanna know about the turf. So I would say, and the plat, a full plat, plat layout, so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And we would have to have those presented, and we need to, as a group, see if that's adequate before we meet again. How's that for a motion?
I'll second it.
Oh, what, did I do that? Fine,
Okay,
Mary and Skip
we
then.
have a motion in a second.
Yes.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Just one comment again, should we be doing this if the zoning resolution precludes the ability to have a recreational special use in zone 1?
Why did you say that?
Because it says for recreational zoning, special use permit, zone 1, which is agricultural or ranching, it has to support agriculture or ranching.
I think that we need to look at that first then.
Yeah.
So I removed my motion, if you could. Let's take a moment and find that.
When you get cuts on that,
Let's take a look at that, because if that's true, then the application's not,
well,
it needs to be.
that's the reason why it's being asked for under a special use permit.
Well,
Because it is zoned
he's saying-
agricultural. It's zoned agricultural.
He's saying you're not allowed to do a special use permit at all in zone 1 unless it's, well, I'm not either, that's why I'm asking for him to. I'm not aware of that verbiage.
Well, that would knock out weddings and everything else that we have.
Actually, it would,
Those are special events.
I agree, that would be fine for social events, but not. We've never discussed it that way with the special use permit. Well,
You're talking about page 55 versus restricted on 1. This 80-acre zone is intended to have low population density and remain agricultural in nature. Areas where conservation of agricultural resources and open space is of prime importance. This zone may have sections that are less than 640 acres. The minimum lot size may be adjusted where fairness requires to compensate for these irregular sections. That's all it said.
yeah, it doesn't say anything about special use permits.
No, yeah, the bottom line is, even after those few things look at water, you come down to a decision on, is this the proper place? When it's so agricultural, does it fit the master plan?
We approve wedding venues in zone 1.
My video is 10 years,
No,
basically.
no, we actually approved a place that does weddings, a perpetual wedding venue. That's what they
That's
did,
part of it, it is venue,
and that's in zone 1.
still, just saying.
And so it needs to have a hearing. A proper hearing with what I said, a sewer plan, a water plan, appropriate water plan. And access that, somebody needs to talk to state highway and road and bridge, is this acceptable? What is the turf made out of? Is it forever plastics? And a good plat layout. So I think my motion stands.
Yes, it should. So we have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
No, it's already. Call the question.
So call the question, Mike.
Aye.
Justin, aye. Bill,
Aye.
Skip, aye. Mary,
Aye. No.
Daryl. I'll vote aye. So motion carries. Reasons, Mike.
We need a lot more information to be able to make a wise decision.
Skip,
Good idea, but we need more information.
Justin,
More information necessary.
It's unanimous.
More information, this is just the start of, and it's gonna get more we need more details and there'll be more discussion about it.
Mary,
More information needed.
Daryl,
I attempted to, and as we go to kind of get some more information, it didn't happen.
and I agree, we need more information, we need some specificity on the water. In particular. Okay, so motion carries. It's tabled for now, let's get more information. Okay, the next item on the agenda. I think is the passage of
Master. I just have a few things. You want me to go first? You're gonna have to write. Somebody's gonna have to write. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Page 20. We had agreed to, under 6.1.3.1, the third paragraph to add due to scarcity of groundwater. We didn't get the word ground in there. And then we were adding the same due to scarcity of groundwater also on paragraph 5 on 6.1.4.1. So that was missed.
So ground was missed on that one too?
No, the whole addition was missed. All right, on 7.7. Somehow a sentence got deleted that I didn't know was being deleted. The historic Willow Schoolhouse underwent needed exterior restoration and maintenance. I know that we moved the first part of it to 4.2, but we missed that second sentence. So in 4.2, it's missing the historic Willow Schoolhouse underwent needed exterior restoration and maintenance work. Pages 31 and 32. I think that we missed updating the date. It all says 2015 still. And
Because none of that got updated.
Well, it was updated though, so somebody updated it from somewhere. It got changed. So where did the change come from?
I'll check it.
The same thing with 32, it was changed and it doesn't, the date's still the same. So I don't know. And then on page 38, well, my page 38, the associates say alternate instead of associate. And then I'd also like to work with you a little bit on formatting if you have time. I want to show you a couple tricks, whoever's doing this.
Well,
Anything else?
I had one observation, or I have two, but Mary already got one of them. The numbers of residences, I think it was the public land is 85%. Said 85% or something, owner occupied with 40 some percent. Part-time residents with remainder being 8% vacant. I think were the numbers. I think it's like first and second.
Oh, it's right in front.
Yeah, it's
we
right.
just took that off the census. That was clearly off the census.
Because we questioned that too, because those numbers don't add up.
Right.
But that's what we took off the census, like.
Well, they add up, if the 85 is 45% of owner occupied.
But I mean, how do we change that if we're taking it right off the internet?
Can you put as per?
The
Yeah, add the source to it.
so what they must mean is of the 85%. 46 or whatever it is are part-time. So they're not really telling you how many are stable residents. They're telling you the part-time residents and the owner occupied, and then the vacant, and that doesn't add up to 100 because there's a portion of the land doing something else.
Right, and we questioned that too, but we took it right off the thing, so we were like, well.
All right, so everybody doesn't
The
understand.
only thing I would say about that is. You would, I read that particular sentence. And, you know, it said, you've got this many
are owner occupied. Of that number, then 45% are seasonal.
Yeah, I
mean,
think that's what it's gotta be.
Yeah, and it needs to, you know. There should be a simple
Okay.
grammatical way to say.
Stick the word above which.
Yeah, of which 40, yeah. I mean, if it just says of which, instead of just going straight to the 45%. As you look at that, you say you've got 85% here, you got 45% here, you've already got 30%. I mean, because you've got no delineation that.
So you want us to
45%.
change the census's math and all of that?
Well, no, I don't want to change, I don't want to change the math, I just want to say that 45% is part of that 85%.
So it'd be 85% of which 45% are
Right.
seasonal. The only problem is there's 7% in the ether. I think when you added 85 and 8, which is 8 is vacant.
Well,
Leaving 8% vacant.
Right, so 85 plus 8 is 93, so there's 7%.
or 7%
Of the-
that may be taken up with roads,
Yeah,
maybe taken up with roads, maybe taken up with.
but it's
It's
in the
not-
head class.
Approximately 49% are owner occupied. Another 42% are seasonal or second homes. You put that together and you've got. What?
That was in
That. Oh, you changed it? Because we didn't say to change it, because the math works right now, the way it was, the math works.
Well, yeah, because we were told to change it to the 2020 census data.
Okay, yeah, I don't have that written down.
Which, yeah, that math does work out, but the new data does not.
Does not.
It doesn't make
work
any
out.
They
sense.
changed it.
Yeah, when you put the new math to it, I mean, all of a sudden you got 85% are owner occupied.
Okay,
But of that 85%, 45% are seasonal.
can you just tell me what the word should be? Can,
Oh,
well,
just
John's ready to give you down, so.
just put out wage.
85% of which.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
percent.
Okay, 85% of which.
You won't worry about the residual 7.
Yeah.
Not explained.
But I think you should also put the source.
Okay, I got that, add the source.
Yeah, they should always say, so people.
I've got something that's time critical because somebody's getting antsy and wants to go home. But I mean,
Well, I've got something too, so go ahead.
this meeting that was this remoteness situation today can't never happen again. If somebody isn't here to speak for a person and they wanna do it remotely, we gotta do something different because this didn't work. We couldn't hear, they couldn't hear us. It didn't help that that rain, we liked the rain.
Honestly, her voice was, she just,
And she didn't know, you couldn't understand her to start with, and then when you put it through all the electronics, it came out as garbage.
It didn't serve us or the applicant well.
No, neither one of us.
Was she trying to get on the screen?
We told her that there wasn't,
She wanted to present it on television.
and I told her that there was no presentation, but we don't have access to that to do screens and presentations.
So then we need to make it to where it's mandatory that you are here in person for a presentation.
Or that somebody else is authorized to speak for them.
And yeah, and they've gotta have full authority to speak. And yeah, cause this
Answer question.
answer questions and everything. I'm sorry, this just didn't work today. It was detrimental to both us and them. So it was just a bad deal, and it shouldn't happen again, so they've gotta be here.
Well, we need to limit how long we let people talk, cause it's like way long.
Along with that, along the same line, if somebody doesn't show up for the site tour. It's, I can say that, you know, to explain it.
Right.
Well, I didn't know that they
Elena
were
was
supposed to
there,
be a site tour.
Elena and, her wife. We're not, they have.
Well, we've done site tours before though, and the applicants haven't been there and you.
Well, it says in here, who was gonna speak for, it says on the application, who will take your place.
That they're supposed to be at site tours?
I said, I told them to say it on most of my application. If we have a site tour, it says.
I don't ever remember us
Okay.
requiring. And we can look.
I just thought that was a very rude thing for a public, a deal as big as this. And then there was somebody in the house.
That's on me then,
There was
because
someone-
I did tell them that they were required to be here and.
It actually says it,
Yeah,
So that's on me.
it does.
it on page 62.
Yeah,
It says a site tour if required. It
Right.
has to be attended.
But it also says that the person has to physically be here for the SUP presentation. They cannot do Zoom. They have to appear in person or by authorized representative at the regularly scheduled meeting.
Cause he did not.
Or as a peer.
Yes.
But what about, that was
Huge
a
here.
special event that she was.
That wasn't, it was an event.
Well, I bet there's nothing in here about, because we don't do this for events. This is not a normal thing. We don't do hearings for events. This is the first one I've been to.
Maybe.
But it says in there that the planning and zoning has the right to request a hearing if they see fit for an event. It says that in the zoning resolution.
And so this one like a bigger.
So,
Well,
we
I
need
did
to
that
add
because-
that they have to physically.
I just did that because of the problem we had last year,
Right.
because of the amount of yelling that I got yelled at by Dennis Shadak, and Cheyenne got treated like garbage from him multiple times. And he had no disrespect for our office or for me or her. And so I said, I'm not signing off on this. And I told the commissioners and they said, you're having a board.
I'm so glad.
The commissioners, as I understood it, also required an after event review.
They did, and I will tell you, that's my fault, because I was in the middle of being an interim director with all the debacle that was going on in my office. I got hammered at a meeting when had just started with him and some other individuals requesting that I have a sideshow with them on top of everything else I was dealing with in the office.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think it's your fault. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if the commissioners required it, it should have been up to the commissioners to follow and see that. Right.
I agree.
Well, not only that, it also should have been up to the applicants, right, the people that held the event to show up and explain what was going on.
Right, but to have somebody here to say, okay, here, tomorrow is the after action event. And then contact
Yeah.
whoever necessary to be there, but the person that needed to do that was the commissioner.
Exactly.
Right, because the commissioners were the ones that requested it.
Yeah.
It was up to them to follow through. Right.
And schedule it, and guys notify her.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not on you.
Gosh, they dropped the ball.
Not at all. The other thing is, I think we all got the wool pulled over our eyes on that event because they have taken a small piece of the center of their large ownership. Made a deed out of it and transferred it to make it look like a separate parcel. Sure, that's fine, but it's the same people. So if it's them and they are also the neighbor, are those the neighbors we need to notify?
That is very sneaky. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
That was underhanded, and I think that should have been recognized by us or by somewhere along the way that said, you know, they made themselves the neighbors that need to be
Right,
notified.
but this was an old application. I mean, that thing,
What do you mean?
the trout ranch is out there.
Right.
Yeah, but that deed description of that area. That was done in 25.
Oh, that was done in 25.
Okay.
That's
when they made
is
an LLC.
They sold it, so they sold it to the.
Well, they created an LLC that is sold to themselves.
Yeah.
And trade service.
Did we have anything else on the master plan?
I don't think so.
No.
Thank
I
you.
don't, okay,
So real quick on,
real quick, we'll go to
all right, thank you for getting us back on track.
Yeah, if you want to.
Like, if y'all want to stay after and keep chatting,
Okay, I'm gonna do it quickly because she's gotta go and that has to be shut off, so.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, all right, planning and zoning may report, we had 6 dwelling permits, 11 accessory permits pulled. Um. 27 closeouts.
Wow.
We did. 13 septic inspections. We had 3 new septic permits. I held 18 special meetings in the office and we dealt with 0 compliance issues in the month of May.
But you didn't have time, dear.
I was also on vacation, so for graduation, so.
So she did have time, she just took vacation.
We had, so the special conferences we had was just going over, compliance letters that Cheyenne and I had sent out to people, expired permits, different stuff like that. We conducted reviews, concerning a cease and desist ordered by the Board of Public Health, which now we're continuing that with the attorney. I've also been working with the Division 2 Water Resources concerning an ongoing investigation on property in San Isabel. I will be going with the Division 2 water engineer, as well as one of the Division 2 water resource officers and the 2 water commissioners down for San Isabel area to this property on June 11th.
It's just a lot.
No,
Very.
I'm not gonna say the address online because the individual does not know that we are going to meet. So, but it is a case that you guys know about. Our geo permits and portal updates, it's going great. Traffic has slowed down tremendously in our office with the permit part. People are getting online and doing all of their permits, which has been good. We also have been working, of course, on preparing this event that has taken a lot of our time, as well as all the other applications that we heard today. And as far as our volunteer Eric, he is no longer volunteering for our office or the assessors. He needed to get a full-time job, so we are sad that he's not volunteering right now.
He helped a lot.
He did help tremendously, so.
And I'm
Other
his
than that,
neighbor and I don't know about it.
that is it.
Okay.
But he wasn't full-time hired, huh?
That's, we're gonna be opening up a job position, so whether he applies or not, we don't know, so.
I second Bill's motion.
Yes, and my motion was to adjourn.
I knew that. That's your motion to adjourn.
So.
We have a second?
Yes.